All right, so we're going to start chapter 2 by looking at measures of center. And specifically in this class, we're going to look at two measures of center, the mean and the median. So we've already looked at one of these before, and that was in chapter 1. We looked at the median. So you remember the median, we took all the numbers and put them in order from smallest to biggest, and then the number that was directly in the center is the median. So it splits our data into two equal groups, or kind of that idea of a 50-50 split. The measure of center that we're going to add in chapter 2 is called the mean. And you actually already know this one. It's known as the average. So this is the one where we would add up all the numbers, all of our data, and then we would divide by the total number of pieces of data that we have. So a question that kind of comes to mind is, well, which one do we use? Does it make a difference? And the answer to that is that it does make a difference, and it's going to depend on how that histogram looks, so what that distribution is. And specifically, whether the distribution is symmetric or skewed will be the clue that tells us whether we're going to use the mean or the median. All right, so let's take a look at these a little bit more closely. There's a table on your guided notes to fill in. And we're actually going to start with the second column that has the median in it. So the symbol that we use for the median is the capital letter M. So this isn't a universal symbol, but this is a symbol our book uses, and it works just fine. So we'll use a capital letter M for that. And then it's the measure of center that splits our data into two equal sized groups. So it gives us that 50% of the data is smaller or below the median, and 50% of our data is bigger or above the median. Now the mean actually has two different symbols, and it's going to depend on how you calculated the mean as to which one you're going to use. So suppose you're interested in the average height of people in Colorado. If we were actually able to get the height of every single person in Colorado and average them, that would be our population mean. And that's going to be represented by the Greek letter mu. So that's a U with kind of a long tail on the left side. Now, if instead of getting the height of every single person in Colorado, I chose a random sample of 500 people and found their average height, then that sample mean is going to be represented with X with a bar over the top. So if it's calculating a mean from a sample, we use X with a bar. And if you were actually able to calculate the mean for your entire population, which is really difficult to do, we would use the Greek letter mu. In terms of this measure of center, it's actually the balance point. So if you think about the histogram we made, if we were able to cut that out of wood and weight it appropriately, then the balance point is going to be the spot where I can stick that histogram on my hand and it doesn't kind of fall off. Okay? And that is actually often referred to as an average. So those are kind of used interchangeably. The values, so both the mean and the median, you can get any real numbers. That means the mean or median could be a positive number, it could be a negative number, it could also be 0. Okay, and then the units of measurement are going to be the same units that you had for your original data. So if we were measuring the average height of people in inches, then the mean and median would also be measured in inches. Right, as far as picture-wise, what the difference is between these two, we have some sort of symmetric distribution. The mean and median are actually going to be equal. So you can kind of see that in the picture here, that the mean and median are going to be kind of where that tall point is in that particular symmetric distribution. If you have a skewed distribution, then the median is going to be closer to the top of the hill. The median is going to be, or the mean is going to be further out in the tail. So the mean is always dragged out somewhere in the tail. It's going to be the part of the graph where the distribution looks the shortest is where you're going to find that mean at. All right, so come back in the next video and we'll finish filling out that table.